Good morning. It's the Call Flo Radio Show, and you're on the air.
Well, good morning, and welcome to the Call Flo Radio Show. It is your Thursday, this April 17th. I am Chris Wood behind the mic. I'm going to ask you to hold off on your calls for the first part of the show because we do have some special guests in our Francis E. Wood studio here in downtown Farmville. And we can welcome Sarah and Erik Varela. They are from with the Waterworks Players. And we want to say good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Okay, Waterworks Players, exciting. How do you know how long the Waterworks Players has been around?
We're getting ready to celebrate our 50th anniversary. We're a little older than that officially, but so we've been around for quite a bit.
50 years. Oh my gosh. Well, I knew it was over 20 years because I remember, going to some plays there, and Francis read one of his stories there as well. And we're talking about some new work that's coming up. Red?
Yes, it's a play by John Logan, and it's about the painter Mark Rothko.
Right. Tell us all about that.
So it takes place in the Rothko studio in the Bowery in New York in the late 50s while he was creating the Seagram murals, which were commissioned for the Four Seasons restaurant at the Seagram Tower, I think it was called, in New York. And this is a slightly fictionalized account of how he came to the decision. Well, I don't know if I should spoil it or not.
Don't spoil it.
Okay.
Okay.
But
He comes to an important decision.
And he, it's a story about him and his assistant, his fictional assistant, Ken. Who's younger, represents a newer generation of artists, and the sort of conflict and the growth that comes from the
There's kind of a competition there, right?
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah. Okay, how many are in the cast?
Two.
Mm-hmm. Just
it's a two-man show. So our actors are Jordan Wiley and Elijah Logue. Mm-hmm. So they've done, if you've been to any Waterworks shows before, you're very likely to have seen them.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see. When is the production?
We open a week from Friday, so we open on the 25th.
The 25th, okay.
The first show is Friday at 7:30. The second show is that Saturday at 7:30. We have a matinee the following Sunday at 2, and then the following weekend again on Friday and Saturday at 7:30.
And the tickets are
$12.
$12, okay. And they're available at the box office?
Yes, and they're also available on the website, waterworksplayers.org, and then you can find a little button that says buy tickets, and it'll take you to a Ludus website that'll let you select seats and pay through there. Okay,
let's talk about painting. Now, are we going to have some art on stage?
There will be some art on stage. It won't ever be completed. Rothko was famous for sort of taking a long time.
He was notoriously methodical.
Okay, now, all right.
Which becomes a plot point for the play, right? He's, as he explains to Ken, 90% of painting is thinking. So it's a very slow and purposeful process for him.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. Now, where did you get the play, and why did it appeal to you?
Well, the play is part of the play. The way it works at Waterworks is there's a play selection committee, which is a subcommittee of the board of directors, and they collect up suggestions from not just members of the Waterworks community, but friends, family, and then they propose a season, and the board votes on it. And so this play was included in the season, and then I was asked if I would like to direct it, and I said sure.
Well, that was my next question.
Right. I said sure. It sounds like fun, even though I've never done it before. I've always kind of liked Rothko. I didn't know a whole lot about him, but as I've prepared for directing this show and gotten to know Rothko a little bit better, I've completely fallen in love with him. So it's been a really
Watch
cool
out,
experience.
Erik.
Yeah, right. He has a little less hair, or had a little less hair.
Yeah.
But
Well, okay, Rothko, can we go online and see some of his work?
Yes, you absolutely can. And chances are good that even if you don't know his name, you've seen his work. He is the guy who's known for painting the fuzzy squares.
Fuzzy
so
squares.
if you Google Mark Rothko, the first pictures that'll come up, you'll say, "Oh, I've seen stuff like that before."
Oh, okay.
He was an abstract expressionist, is what they call it. He did not think of himself as an abstract expressionist, but that's the category he falls underneath. So, and he was painting the Seagram murals around the same time that other artists like Andy Warhol were coming into fashion. So he was at odds with some of that new art. He was a contemporary of Jackson Pollock, who I think a lot of people also are familiar with, the splattered paint. So yeah, some really cool work with color and shapes.
All right.
I think one of the things that is really something that most people, you know, if you fall into that category of like, I don't know Mark Rothko, and you see a picture, it's like, oh, I do know that. The thing that is really surprising is finding out just how big his paintings were.
The small ones were like
So,
6
like,
feet
yeah.
by 6 feet.
6 feet by
Oh.
6 feet is small
Oh,
for
so that's
him.
Mural size.
Yeah.
Yes.
and
And,
so-
you know, like
You take out the
12,
whole
13,
Yep.
14 feet
Yeah.
is, you know, a more medium-sized painting for him.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
And that's one of the things that we tried to incorporate into the show is like having canvases and frames that are representative of, you know, the work that he actually did. And it's kind of startling to see just how large the stuff is.
Does that make you think that he had a pretty large ego, maybe, or what? You know,
I mean,
basically.
I think that's a possibility, especially I've been reading a lot of Rothko's writings recently, and he definitely felt that he had a mission and that he was accomplishing that mission. But he does actually comment on the size of his paintings, saying that he wants them to... He feels that smaller paintings you become an observer of, whereas larger paintings you become a part
of it.
And so he really wants human beings to stand in front of his work and be enveloped by it. But the ego part is probably not that far off. I mean, the Rothko that we see in the show has a little bit of an ego. So.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about Ken.
Ken is bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. He's the young, excited artist. He is hopeful. He sees new art as representative of today and a little bit tomorrow. He's a good foil for Rothko. He is this like breath of fresh air in the studio, and really helps Rothko see himself from a different point of view.
Oh, okay.
So,
I think Ken is the audience's kind of way into some of these discussions about art and philosophy that the two have, right? So if you aren't familiar with some of the things that come up in the play, Rothko's not necessarily going to help you.
Oh,
But Ken will.
Ken will. Okay. Now, is this a comedy, or is this a drama, or is this a
I would say
mixture of both? Or?
I would say it's a drama with funny moments. There are some really
Comedic.
There's some
Yeah,
things that I
comedic.
think are just hysterical. But it's overall a more serious play. But it doesn't feel so heavy that you go and you feel totally depressed afterward or something like that.
Okay.
So,
all right.
and technically it's a one-act play. It's in 5 scenes with no intermission. It's not as long as some other productions that we've done in recent years. It's about, I think we're running about an hour and 40 minutes right now. So so it's nice and tight, and it's kind of small package with a lot of big ideas in it.
Well, that's great. Now, let's talk about you and Erik. When did you first meet?
Wait, what year?
2008.
2008, yeah.
Okay.
I'm the one who's bad at remembering the dates. We met in graduate school.
Okay, and you went to graduate school where?
Washington University in St. Louis.
And how long have you been in Farmville?
This is our 10th year in Farmville now. So
It's wild.
yeah, we came here in 2015.
Yeah, what got you interested in Waterworks?
Well, Erik was the one who started at Waterworks. He was approached to be in a play several years ago, directed by Clint Wright, called The Illusion. And so I just sort of hovered for several years, and then
Granted, COVID forced hovering for several years on everyone.
And then when he was doing 12th Night under the direction of Jordan Wiley, who I am now directing, which is kind of a funky twist, they realized that they needed a little, like a 3-line servant here, and then, and we need a priest for this bit. And so I said, I can help with that, because I had been helping with stage stuff anyway. So I said, yeah, sure, I like Shakespeare, I can do that. And so I played a servant and a little old man, and that was my first time.
A little old man?
Yeah.
Okay.
We decided, well, the priest probably at this time wouldn't have been a woman, so it won't make. And I'm not a very tall, I'm not a tall person, so it was only believable to make me a little old man.
Yeah, I know how it is not to be tall. But anyway, let me ask you something. Is Dudley Salvay involved with it, with the Waterworks still now?
Yes, he absolutely is. And he comes to check in on our work days. He's a member of our play reading committee. He has been popping in every Saturday to see how the show is going, and he's given me some good advice, and we really appreciate Dudley.
Well, that's great.
So.
I'm glad that he's still participating and being a part of it, because without Dudley, there
would be no
Waterworks.
Waterworks.
A Waterworks.
Right.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Well, now tell us again what are the dates, and please leave us some information so that we can put it on our community calendar.
Absolutely.
To let everybody know. So, again, the dates are next Friday, the 25th.
The 25th, 26th, and 27th. The 25th and 26th are at 7:30 p.m., and the 27th is at 2 p.m.
It's a matinee, right?
And then the following weekend is May 2nd and 3rd, I want to say.
I believe so, yes.
Yes.
May 2nd and 3rd, both at 7:30 p.m.
Okay, sounds fantastic. It's $12.
$12.
Right across the board, and you can get the tickets at the door and go on to your website at waterworksplayers.org. Is that
Yes.
correct? My memory's working pretty well today. Well, we certainly appreciate you coming in and giving us a little bit of insight
Thank you for having
about
us.
Red. And for those of you who are interested, maybe going to the play or whatever, look up Mark Rothko and take a look at his work. And Ken's work is forthcoming, I guess.
Yeah.
You want to do it like that. Okay, well, we appreciate you, Sarah and Erik Varela, and hopefully we'll get out there to see the production.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
thank
luck
you.
to you. Take care.
Thank you.
All
You too.
right. All right, that was Sarah and Erik Varela. They are a team, and they were representing Waterworks Players production of Red by John Logan. So it's about Mark Rothko and his modern art, and an assistant, Ken, who is more or less an enthusiastic younger person who I guess they kind of become competitors there with their clashing of personalities or whatever. But it sounds like it would be very, very interesting. And I'm sure that they'll leave us some information on that production to remind everybody that it is coming up next week, next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then the following weekend as well. Then the production in the evenings is 7:30. The matinee on Sunday is at 2. All right, our time is 8:21. You're listening to the Call Flo Radio Show for this Thursday, the 17th day of April. The line is open, 434-394-0924 is the number. Chris Wood behind the microphone, and Noah's out chatting with the Varelas, but he should be here shortly. So let's take a look at this date in history. on April 17th. And I see something about a featured event from Canada, because I recognize the maple leaf flag there. The Canada Act, also known as the Constitution Act, took effect on this day in 1982, establishing certain individual rights, reserving parliamentary supremacy, and making Canada a wholly independent, fully sovereign state. So congratulations there. 2018, American First Lady Barbara Bush, wife of George H.W. Bush, 41st President of the United States, and the mother of George W. Bush, the 43rd President of the United States, died at the age of 92. That must have been just so proud of her to have her husband and then her son become presidents of the United States. In 2014, Colombian novelist Gabriel Garcia Marquez, winner of the Nobel Prize for Literature and widely considered one of the greatest writers of the 20th century, died at the age of 87. And let's see here. The hugely popular TV show Game of Thrones, this was in 2011, which was based on George R.R. Martin's fantasy book series, A Song of Ice and Fire, debuted on HBO. And it's won several Emmys. 2003, Anali, Jahtimaki was sworn in as Prime Minister of Finland, which thereby became the second country after New Zealand to install a woman as head of both state and government. And in 1975, Cambodia's ruling Lon Nol government collapsed, and the communist forces of the Khmer Rouge, led by Pol Pot, entered Phnom Penh and forcibly dispersed its citizenry into rural areas. 1970, the Apollo 13 command module carrying James A. Lovell, Jr., Fred W. Hayes, Jr., and John L. Swigert Jr. entered Earth's atmosphere and splashed down, ending one of the most tense chapters in space history. 4 days earlier, an oxygen tank had exploded, threatening the lives of the 3 astronauts. Of course, they made a movie out of that. 1961, Cuban leader Fidel Castro's forces repelled the Bay of Pigs invasion, which was led by recent Cuban exiles and financed by the U.S. government during the Cold War. 1956, the Common Forum, the International Communist Information Bureau, founded in 1947, was disbanded as part of a Soviet program of reconciliation in Yugoslavia. 1951, American baseball player Mickey Mantle made his Major League Baseball debut as an outfielder for the New York Yankees. Mickey Mantle. Now, in 1895, the Treaty of Shimonoseki concluded the First Sino-Japanese War, which ended in China's defeat. And in 1790, American printer, publisher, author, inventor, scientist, and diplomat Benjamin Franklin, who was one of the foremost of the founding fathers, died at the age of 84. Boo-hoo. All right, that's your lesson there. Let's see if any of the famous birthdays coming around. 1968, Adam McKay.
Oh, yeah.
American director, producer, and writer. 1957, Nick Hornby, a British writer. 1918, William Holden, American actor. And in 1894, Nikita Khrushchev, premier of the Soviet Union. They all had birthdays today. Good morning, Noah.
Good morning, Chris. Good morning.
How are you?
Good.
You had everything ready for me this morning. Bless your heart.
Of course, yeah. I try to help out when I can.
Yeah, and I think you're feeling a little bit better, but still.
The difference is small. You know, we still have a couple of months to wait out. So,
That's right. Were you at the press club last night?
I was, yeah.
How'd things go there?
I was good. Yeah, no, we had a lady who's in a Led Zeppelin cover band, named Shannon from New York. Her band's from New York. She's very she's a very famous Led Zeppelin cover artist, and
Right.
and she performed at the open mic, and it was amazing.
Oh my gosh.
And the showmanship.
Why was she here?
Well, she's friends with, she was born here, and I think her mother still lives here, and so she comes to visit family. But, I thought she was just going to watch the show, but she graced us with, a beautiful performance.
Yeah.
So
I think Erik has
yes.
left something.
Oh, yes.
So we can go let him in the door because we usually lock the door. Anyway, it's 28 minutes after 8 o'clock, and this is the Call Flo Radio Show. Oh, Erik left us a poster. Oh, yeah, he left us some information. So that's a great idea. Fantastic. Okay. All right. So anyway, you were talking about this lady.
I'm going to mess it up if I say it, but Shannon Connolly is, I think, her name.
Okay.
But yeah, have you ever been
Why
to a
was
show?
she here?
I think she was just seeing her mother.
Okay.
I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
Okay.
she wasn't. But so she came by, and again, she's friends with a lot of people in this area. She came by. I seen her one other time. I want to say a couple of months ago, she came out to the open mic, and kind of the same thing. She was just stopping by in town, say hi to some friends, I guess, and some family. And so she performed last time and this time. And you ever been to a show, Chris, where the showmanship is just...
Wazoo.
It's
Wazoo.
almost
My daughter has
disrespectful
that
how much
kind of-
showmanship.
She has that kind of showmanship.
Yeah.
When she performs, it's not out the wazoo, but
Yeah.
she's got it. She
It's-
relates with the audience.
exactly,
And
yeah.
she gets into the music.
hand movements and gestures and the all of the hand movements that you can do. Yeah. It was great. It was really good. And I should also mention that the open mics are kind of winding down. So basically when we started these open mics, we were talking about each week we would pick 2 performers from the open mic to bring them to a competition round that we'll throw later on in the year. And we figured out that we're going to go ahead and throw that competition round the last Wednesday of this month. So not next Wednesday, but the Wednesday after that, the 30th.
30th, okay.
Will be the final competition round. So it will be all of the people who won previous open mics coming out to compete for a chance to win a spot on the Farmville Spotlight, Chris.
All right.
Isn't that kind of exciting?
Yeah.
That's
Do you get a lot of college students there? The open mic or?
I can tell a story about that, and I will, and I'll tell it right now.
Wait until after the birthdays.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
Okay. Well, that'll keep us on the edge of our
Tippy
seats.
toes. Yeah, that's right. Whatever they say. Who knows?
Okay. All right. It is 8:30. We've got our weather forecast coming up. It's brought to you by Harold W. Collins Clearing and Grading, located at 2113 Cumberland Road in Farmville.
Harold W. Collins Clearing and Grading has been helping to build Southside and Central Virginia since 1960, providing all excavation, general contracting, and hauling needs. 5 miles north of Farmville, 2113 Cumberland Road, at the intersection of 45 and Range Tavern Road. Call 392-6010 or stop by Harold W. Collins Clearing and Grading.
Your WFLO forecast calls for lots of sunshine today with a high of 68 degrees. I didn't see any frost coming in this morning, so maybe, we didn't get any much around here. Look for a high of 68 degrees for tonight. Partly cloudy with a low of 45 on Friday. Sunny with a high of 79. Friday night, partly cloudy with a low of 61. On Saturday, we'll see partly sunny skies with a high 85. Then turning mostly cloudy on Saturday night. I think I said it was partly cloudy Saturday night, but it's going to be mostly cloudy with a low of 65. On Sunday, mostly cloudy with a high of 85 degrees. And for Monday night, mostly cloudy with a low around 60 degrees. Your humidity at 58%, winds from the northeast right now around 5 miles per hour. We have a barometric pressure at 30.26 inches, so it is rising. Our conditions outside, mostly sunny. We did have a morning low of 36 degrees. Our current temperature is warming up now to 45 degrees. That's your weather forecast, sponsored at this time by Harold W. Collins Clearing and Grading. Give them a call at 434-392-6010. That's 392-6010. All right, we have our birthday calendar coming up, brought to you by Creative Electrical Contractors, located at 1907 East 3rd Street in Farmville.
Creative Electrical Contractors specializes in commercial and industrial projects and offers quality work at competitive prices. CEC is a licensed Class A contractor in Virginia and North Carolina. Creative Electrical Contractors has been in business for 25 years, still committed to the values that were established when the company opened in 1998. Integrity, quality workmanship, and timely delivery. CEC, located at 1907 East 3rd Street, Farmville. You can contact CEC at 434-392-3802 or at creative-electrical.com.
All right, we all know what that means. It's time for our birthday and anniversary calendar. And with that, we have Noah Massars who's going to tell us who's celebrating today. Noah.
Chris?
Yes.
All right. I'll take it off. I'll take it from here. So starting off the list for Thursday, the 17th of April, we have Reverend Larry E. Smith celebrating, and he is from Fluvanna, so he's celebrating a birthday today. Also celebrating, we have Bill Jones of Cumberland. We also have Aubrey P. Shelton celebrating. We have Christian Dale Goyne, Greg Long, Ellen D. Ososini, Calvin, and we have an anniversary as well. Calvin and Shelley Ward celebrating an anniversary today, and we also have one more name I missed. It's Trenzas Whitley, I believe. Trenzas.
Trenzas.
Mm-hmm. That's a unique name.
It is a very unique name. I don't think I've ever heard that.
Trenzas Whitley celebrating a birthday today, and that's going to conclude the list for today.
Tell everybody how they can get on the list.
Yeah, they can call in 434-394-0924. They can email us at birthdays@wflo.net. And contrary to popular belief, that's not just for birthdays. Send your anniversaries there as well.
Okay.
And also on our website, on the on-air mentions page, you can send directly from our website anniversaries and birthdays. And that's about it.
Okay. Well, that's a nice list. The birthday calendar brought to you by Creative Electrical Contractors. If it's not right, they will make it right. Call 434-392-2802. All right, it's 8:35. Let's we've got open lines, 434-394-0924. Let's check out celebrity birthdays very quickly here. Actor Sean Bean turns 66 today. And his fun fact is he has 3 children, Evie, Lorna, and Molly. Those are nice names. Singer Liz Phair turns 58. She's originally from New Haven, Connecticut. Also, and it's spelled Phair. Actress Jennifer Garner turns 53. And let's see, she reprised her role as Elektra in last year's Deadpool and Wolverine.
Do you like Jennifer Garner?
I like her.
She's okay.
She's okay. Good. Yeah, she's all right. Model and singer Victoria Beckham is 51. Of course, she was with the Spice Girls. I can't remember which one she was, though, but maybe somebody out there knows. Anyway, she appeared on several episodes of American Idol as a judge. Of course, she's married to David Beckham, who's the soccer player. He's a hunk. Let's see. Actress Rooney Mara turns 40. Her first child with then boyfriend Joaquin Phoenix, was named after his brother River Phoenix, who passed away.
Yeah.
We've got more celebrities to tell everybody about, but first we've got a call, and I'll bet you it's Henry.
That's a good guess.
And see.
Oh, I think we had 2 calls,
Two
actually.
calls, actually. Okay, well,
So
we'll see. We'll see.
50-50.
All right. Good morning. You're on the Call Flo Show.
Good morning. This is Mr. Lee.
Hi, Mr. Lee. I was thinking about you the other day. I was wondering how you were doing.
Wasn't sticks or stones or anything like that
Oh,
involved?
heavens no. Not at all. Hope you're doing okay.
I'm doing marvelous. I listen most of the time because I can't hear you here. But anyways, to talk to you about a piece that was on the news the other night about President Clinton and how this fraud, waste, and abuse that everybody's talking about this day and age. And there's a story on there that piqued my interest that I don't remember and don't recall. But this briefly, it was this President Clinton had appointed this lady, one person and a little bit of staff, to look at what the fraud, waste, and abuse was during the Clintons' administration and to find the root causes. So she went out and spent about 2.5 years, I'm summarizing this, about 2.5 years doing this study, came back to the White House to do a presentation. So President Clinton asked her, what did you find? Is it people? Is it too many tanks? Is it too many guns? Too many soldiers? She said, no, it's regulations.
Ah.
And she says she had brought with her a pallet, and on that pallet was piled hundreds and hundreds of regulations, booklets, invoices, requisitions that had gone out. And you ain't going to believe what they were for. They were for to purchase a hammer.
What?
We're talking about a carpenter's hammer to drive nails with. And these regulations would specify, well, for the Army, you got to have one that's green, and it's got to have the Army logo on it, and it's got to meet a certain stencil strength, and it's got to have the right curve on the pulling arc. And it goes on, and the Navy had to be blue, the Air Force had to be a darker blue, and the Marine Corps had to be black. Anyways, all this paper dealt with regulations, and there was over 2,000 of them.
Oh, my
and she said that's what's costing the biggest drain on the federal budget. And because of that, she said, well, this is my comment, but when you think about the Pentagon, which I spent 10 years in, there's 32,500 people when I was in the Pentagon, one of the world's largest office buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And all those people do in that building, including me, was write regulations.
Oh, my
gosh. That's all they do. They tell everybody else wherever they are across the world how to drive, how to tank, how to steer, how to move, the logistics, all done because of regulations. So the other thing she said was the personnel in the government really hasn't changed much since 1950. We still have the same number of people in the Pentagon, in the federal government as we had in 1950. But we've added another 1.5 million people to their responsibility. That's part of the problem.
Yes.
So it's not fraud. It's waste and abuse. There's waste everywhere. There's waste in your home, Mm-hmm. How many people bought toilet paper because of COVID and went and bought out Walmart? That's abuse.
Yeah, it is. Yes.
And people don't think about themselves. How many cans of soup did you buy? Did you take the shelf completely? That's abuse.
Yeah.
Not fraud. Anyways.
I was in the Mart the other day, and I like the flavored water, the peach flavored water, and I got behind this guy who absolutely filled his cart with with the flavored water, and I was thinking to myself, what in the world are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was abusive because finally, when I got my turn, I had not a whole lot of selection there. Yeah. But anyway, I understand what you mean now. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to know that you're still the original peach. That's wonderful.
Well, that's amazing.
I just want to finish this story off because after that presentation, of regulations, and Clinton agreed. Clinton did two things that most people didn't even realize until I heard about it the other night. Was one, he cut the federal workforce entirely down from what was like 700-something thousand people down to 400-something thousand people, and he cut the national debt by 40%.
Yes.
And he still to this day has been, not Trump, but Clinton, one of the biggest savers and reduction of the federal government at that time. So continue that story. I'll tell you. We don't have enough time, but I'll tell you another story later.
Okay.
I was on a presidential task force from Jimmy Carter to look at consolidation of activities in the federal government and basically DOD. That's consolidate activities. Met with utter failure. It's a great idea. It's still great to this day, but laying thousands of people off is not the way to do it. And I got an idea how to do it without laying off anybody and save $2 trillion.
Oh, my
Quick and
goodness.
simple.
Well,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
We'll talk about that another time.
All right. That sounds
Anyway,
fantastic.
that hammer, Clinton created that into a hammer, what's called a Hammer Award, and it's still given out by the White House every single year for those who are very efficient about running their agency. And it's called the Hammer Award, based on the $1,000 hammer that the Marine Corps or whoever buys.
Oh, my gosh. That's
That's it.
disgusting. Really
story.
is. It makes me
All right.
feel bad.
All right.
Anyway,
Well,
it was enlightening. Let's put it that way.
I'm not going to tell you I'm going to take a bite out of my peach, but, have fun.
All right. Take care. We love you.
Bye.
All right.
Bye. Love you.
Bye-bye. Oh, that was Mr. Lee. He always brings something interesting to the table
100%.
for discussion, because he is so talented.
It's that reporter energy,
Well, yeah, but he's had such a history, going back several decades, being involved with the government and in the journalism and all that. He's just an amazing man.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyway, we appreciate that. A hammer.
It's crazy.
It is crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. Regulations. Gosh.
They add up.
Yeah, they
add
do.
up. I mean, they're important. Don't get me wrong, but then
Some are important, but
there's
some are just
extremes.
ridiculous.
Yeah, like that's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, I want building regulations to, for the most part. There may be some unnecessary ones, but get stuff when it comes to like hammers or logos, yada yada. Like, that's just it's an extreme that doesn't need to be there. Yeah.
Exactly what he said. It's wasteful.
Yeah.
So no wonder we're in the shape we're in. But anyway, let's see. We'll take another caller here. Good morning. You're on the Call Flo Show.
Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Henry.
And I hope you all are well.
Yes, Noah and I are well. We just heard from Mr. Lee. You remember Mr. Lee, don't you?
Mr. Lee?
Mr. Lee, yeah. He used to call on the Call Flo Show there on WFLO AM and FM, and he was always on the political scene for decades. He served under presidents and yeah. So he was telling us a story about regulations. But anyway, that's that's another story.
Yeah. Okay.
So now we have you on the air, and we hope that you're doing well.
I hope so. Everybody says I'm a little bit off. I may not be well off, but a little bit off. Anyway, because of a town ordinance, the city slicker had 2 calves, which he kept hidden, one on each leg.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Got that.
And because his fingerprints were on the doorknob, police had an open and shut case against him.
I'm sure that they did.
Yeah. And, of course, if you hadn't heard about the baseball player, I'll pass that along. The baseball player took 3 swings, but police made him return them to the playground.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Yes. looking out for the little children.
Of course.
Yeah, there was a lady whose name was Ella. Her full name was Ella Vader, but she had her ups and downs.
I'm sure she did.
Yes.
Elevator.
Yeah, it's like the railroad conductor who was well trained.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and there was a guy who sat on the newspaper, and then he said, "That's the news in detail."
In detail. Okay. Now, Henry, I want to ask you something.
Sure.
Do you make this stuff up?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
That just amazes me that you can do that. I couldn't do that if my life depended on it.
Well, I hope your life don't depend on it.
Okay. But anyway, it was just, I'm...
No, well, I don't know. I always like the little puns, and everything reminds me of a pun, sort of.
Okay.
But then that's the funny side of me. The other side is the serious side, and that's even stronger than the silly side, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good many years ago, I was speaking at a church on Sunday, and just before I went on to speak, there was a lady there who had a little baby, and I think the baby was like 3 or 4 months old, maybe 6 months old, and the little baby, she was a foster mother, and the little baby, this was at another town, a place, and the mother of that little baby, before I went on to speak, said that the child was blind and was deaf. And she asked me to pray for the little baby. So before I went to speak, I prayed for the little baby. And then I went on up and did my time there in the pulpit. Well, it was years later that the pastor of that church, in fact, it was almost 25 years later, he visited Heritage Baptist Church where we went, and he told me that little baby started acting differently right after I prayed for him. And the mother, foster mother, took the child to the doctor on Monday, and the child could see and hear. Now, why did I not hear about it for 25 years? I don't know. But anyway, I went on up and did my hour or so in the pulpit, and at the end of the service, I asked if anybody wanted me to pray for them. If so, to come forward. Well, a man from the medical field came forward, and he had his 3-year-old son on his shoulder. And the daddy said his son was on a breathing machine about 20 hours out of 24 hours. So we prayed for the little fellow. And as his dad carried his son back to his seat, my voice said over the loudspeaker, because this man of modern medicine has publicly humbled his profession and himself by stating that there was no answer to his son's problem. And because this man had, my voice said, because this man has publicly confessed, God is going to heal his son. And after that, I went home. Some 25 years later, a lady walked up to me and said that she was the mother of that young boy, and the youngster never went back on the breathing machine after that service years ago. Furthermore, she said he had a genetic problem that meant he'd never be able to father a child. Then she said he's now almost 30 years old, and he and his wife have a 3-year-old daughter.
Mm-hmm.
All right, but now that man asked me not to use his name, and his dad, who's a strong Christian, his dad was real upset at that, but I did, as he requested, the son requested, do not use his name. So I haven't used his name, but his dad was a well-known, and still is a well-known man of medicine.
Okay.
So, anyway, you can't ever sell the man upstairs short.
That's right.
You know, anything is possible with him. And he'll usually hit you from a... I've wondered why some of these things I've seen the Lord do, I had to wait for years, and I guess I wasn't really ready to handle that kind of news when, maybe 25 years ago. I don't know why, but anyway, I hope to share some more things maybe tomorrow.
Okay. All right.
And my number is 414-0096, if anyone would like to call.
All right, Henry. We thank you, too.
All right. God bless.
We appreciate
Bye-bye.
you. Have a good day. Bye-bye. All right. That was our call from Henry Fulcher, the one and only.
The one and only.
Yeah. Okay. Time is 8:53, almost 8:54. So we've got 6 minutes to go on the show. Plenty of time for other callers to call in at 434-394-0924 if you have a hankering to do that. Anyway.
Yeah.
Oddities.
Oddities, yes. Massage.
Massage.
No. Massage.
Yes.
Yes. I am taking a look as we speak.
Okay. Mr. Noah.
That's right.
The reason why I'm not really doing more of the celebrity birthdays is because there's nobody really in the list that's prominent there. Anyway, I do know that J.P. Morgan, the banker, has a birthday today.
Oh, nice.
Thornton Wilder, the author, and we mentioned William Holden, and Rowdy Roddy Piper, the wrestler. Do you know Rowdy
I've heard of that.
Rowdy Roddy Piper. Don't try to say that 5 times fast. Let's see. I believe we have another caller here. Good morning. You're on the Call Flo Show.
Hey, good morning, Chris and Noah. It's Grace from the Buckingham Library. How are you this morning?
Oh, just fine, Grace. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm on medical leave actually for a little bit, but I'm hanging in there. I feel like a lump on a log.
Well, we hope that you feel better soon.
Thank you. Listen, I wanted to let you guys know that Saturday we have a local author coming to do a poetry reading at the library. He's a lovely gentleman from Cumberland. And that's from 1 to 2. It is up on our website, but also the other exciting thing is our Friends of the Library group put together 21 raffle baskets on Tuesday, and they are on display at the library. The drawing will be at Mayfest at the Historic Village, and there's all different types. There's wine baskets, gardening baskets, spa baskets. I haven't seen them personally this year, but they were frantically putting things together on Tuesday, and this is our big fundraiser for the library. This is how we get all of the money for cool stuff like Mr. Predicto.
I love Mr. Predicto.
You know, this is where that comes from. So I just want to let everybody out there know that they can come into the lobby, check out all the baskets, buy a ticket if you can, and help support our cool programs like the Halloween stuff.
Yeah. Now, how many baskets did you say you had?
From what the staff told me, there's 21.
21 baskets.
So that's a lot. We had 17 last year.
And how much are the tickets? $1, something like that, or?
They're cheap. You know what, Chris? I haven't been there. I'm not sure. I think they might be $5, but I don't want to tell tales out of school.
Okay, tell tales out of school. That's great. I love that. Well, Grace, how are things going at the library right now? Good? You staying busy?
Really good. We've been busy. Our book club is reading a Janet Ivanovich book right now, which is always fun.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been having Betty Shapiro volunteered to teach basket weaving. She's been teaching 4 different classes and supplying all of the supplies. She's just so wonderful. And we've been having a blast with that. Like I said, I'm out until mid-May, so I haven't really been planning any major programs, but we do have the herbalist from Charlottesville on tap to do some kind of herbal thing coming up in June. So we're going to get back on track with that. But our kids' programs are going strong. We have a bunch of homeschool people coming in every week, and Miss Latrice is doing all kinds of fun things with them. So we're just rocking and rolling.
All right. Where is the library located again?
On North James Madison Highway, across from Food Lion and Fastmart in Dillwyn.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Grace. Sounds good. Good luck this weekend as well.
All right.
With
Thank you guys.
you know,
have a great weekend.
with the reading
The
from
author,
the author.
yeah, that's great.
And what's his name again?
His name is Tom Waltman.
Tom Waltman.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe you can send us an email with that information. We can put it on there.
I think we have it on FarmvilleNow.com already.
Do we have it on Farmville Now?
Yeah,
yes, we do.
Put it on there, but thank you though, guys. I really appreciate it.
Okay. All right. Take care. All right.
You
Bye-bye.
too.
Mm-hmm. Bye-bye.
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 All right. That was Grace Barlow from the Buckingham Public Library telling us about what's going on this weekend. And we certainly hope that she has a quick recovery and gets back into the groove, we'll say, very, very shortly. Okay, and we've about run out of time.
Yeah. Well,
so it's been a productive Call Flo Show.
Absolutely.
And that's what we like.
We do like a good, productive episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'll see you next week, Chris.
I know you will. Yeah,
will
because I've
indeed.
got John in with me tomorrow.
That's right.
Okay. All right. Sounds wonderful. Everybody, have a great remainder of your day, and we'll have another Call Flo Show tomorrow. Which is Friday. All right. Take care.
Bye.